first days with Elena were cautious ones. Clara tested her, the same way she had tested every maid before, by slamming her door shut, refusing meals, and deliberately spilling juice on the carpet just to see if Elena would snap. But unlike the others, Elena never raised her voice. Instead, she knelt beside the mess with a cloth in hand and said quietly, "We can clean it together. That way next time you'll know how to do it yourself." Clara frowned, confused. No maid had ever included her, only scolded or cleaned after her. Hesitantly, she picked up a rag and copied Elena. Later that week, Clara sat in the vast, lonely dining room, staring at her untouched plate. Richard was late again from work, his chair empty at the head of the table. Normally, Clara would sulk or push her food away, but tonight Elena sat beside her. "Did you know?" Elena whispered conspiratorially. "That carrots are superhero food. They help you see in the dark." Clara giggled despite herself. "Really?" "Mm-hmm." Elena nodded, crunching one exaggeratedly. "But only brave girls can handle their power." Clara popped a carrot in her mouth and chewed dramatically, her little eyes sparkling for the first time in months. From the doorway, Richard paused on his way in, briefcase still in hand. He froze at the sight, his daughter laughing, eating without complaint. A lump formed in his throat. He hadn't seen her smile like that since her mother's passing. He whispered under his breath, almost to himself, "Who are you, Elena? And how are you doing this?" Days turned into weeks and the house began to feel alive again. Clara started waiting eagerly for Elena's stories. From bedtime fairy tales to little tales about stars and animals. Her tantrums grew fewer, her laughter louder. But the true turning point came on a rainy afternoon. Clara had been trying to draw a picture of her family but stopped midway, her eyes clouding over. "It's not fair," she muttered, tossing the paper aside. "Other kids have mommies. I don't." Elena's heart ached. Slowly, she picked up the drawing and sat beside her. "You're right, sweetheart. Life hasn't been fair to you. But you're not alone. You have a daddy who loves you and maybe a friend like me who wants to stay." Clara's lip trembled. Tentatively, she reached out and slipped her small hand into Elena's. "You promise you won't leave?" she whispered, her voice shaking with both fear and hope. Elena squeezed her hand gently. "I promise." At that exact moment, Richard entered the room. He had heard everything. His eyes stung as he watched his little girl, who had once pushed everyone away, now clinging to someone she finally trusted. Clara looked up at him with teary eyes and said the words that broke him completely. "Daddy, can Elena stay forever?" The Lawson mansion stood like a palace, its marble floors gleaming and crystal chandeliers glowing against the dusk sky. Yet within its grand walls, the silence was broken by the shrill cry of a child. 6-year-old Clara sat on the grand staircase in a puff of lace and ribbon, her cheeks flushed red with anger. "I said I don't like you," she shouted at the maid, her little fists balled tightly. With a sudden burst of fury, she hurled her stuffed rabbit across the hallway, the toy skidding helplessly across the polished floor. The maid, exhausted and near tears, shook her head. "I cannot do this anymore, Mr. Lawson," she said, snatching up her bag. "Your daughter is impossible." With a curt bow, she stormed out through the massive oak doors, leaving an echo of failure in her wake. Richard Lawson, the widowed millionaire, emerged from his study and leaned against the doorway. His tall, commanding figure, always so composed in boardrooms, now looked weighed down by helplessness. He rubbed his temples, watching his daughter sulk on the stairs. This was the 5th maid in 3 months. Each had come eager, hopeful, and confident they could handle Clara's tantrums. Each had left defeated. "She's not bad, sir," the butler murmured softly, breaking the heavy silence. "She's just broken inside. She misses her mother." Richard's heart clenched. He wanted to fix everything for his daughter, but money couldn't buy what she truly needed: warmth, patience, love. All he could do was watch her grow more distant with each passing day. Clara hugged her knees and glared at the empty hallway. "Everyone leaves," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. And the house, despite its beauty, felt unbearably cold. The next morning brought a fresh face to the mansion gates. Elena arrived nervously, clutching the straps of her worn handbag. She wasn't like the others who had come before her. No polished shoes or expensive perfume. Just a simple, humble girl with kind eyes and a quiet smile. The butler introduced her, but Clara immediately narrowed her gaze from the staircase. "You'll leave too," she announced with the sharpness of a child, who had been disappointed too many times. Everyone leaves. Elena paused, her heart aching at the loneliness hidden beneath those words. Slowly she walked forward, unafraid of the girl's glare. She noticed the stuffed rabbit abandoned in a corner, its ear bent awkwardly. Without a word, she picked it up, gently brushed off the dust, and knelt down at Clara's level. Holding the toy out, she whispered, "I think he's been waiting for you. He looks sad without you." Clara's eyes widened. No one had ever spoken to her toys before, only scolded her for throwing them or told her to behave. For the first time, her defiance faltered. She reached out cautiously, hugging the rabbit tight against her chest. "You didn't yell at me," Clara said softly, almost in disbelief. Elena smiled. "Why would I? You just need someone to listen."